hopefully. Okay, we are doing 13.6 continued. Hopefully you have your blue notes with you, and they are on the back side of what we did today, or what we did yesterday, depending on when you're watching this video. Okay, so first of all, we're going to write a polynomial as a product of two factors. You have to find the GCF. Remember, GCF means what?
Greatest common factor. Okay,
greatest common factor of all the terms. And then what we're really doing, this is called factoring. Another word for factoring is just division. So think about what we did today or earlier today. You had a problem that was something like 2a times 4a plus 3, right? And what we did was we distributed. Well, distributing is what? Well, it's multiplying. Factoring is division. So what we did today where we distributed, and we got what here?
6x.
No.
6a squared.
8a squared.
Okay, 8a squared. And then distribute again, and I get?
6a.
So plus 6a. Okay, so this, we went from this step to this step. Today what you're going to do is you're going to go from this step to this step. So we're just going to work backwards, okay? So for example, what's going to happen here, if you look at this problem right here, I would look at my 8 and my 6 and I'd say, what's the largest number, or what's the greatest common factor of 8 and 6? So what's the largest number that I could pull out or divide out of 8 and 6? What's my GCF of 8 and 6? 2, okay? And then I look at my a squared and I look at my a and I say, well, what's the most amount of a's that I could divide out from each term? 1. So that is going to come out to the outside. Now what you're really doing with this GCF is you're dividing with it. So I'm dividing each term by that 2a. Well, what's 8 divided by 2?
4.
What's a squared divided by a?
A.
What's 6 divided by 2?
3.
What's a divided by a?
Nothing.
1. Okay, so, but they cancel out is really what you're trying to tell me, right? Do you see how I get the same thing back when I do that? Okay, so what's happening today is you're going to start with the problem and you end up with it factored out. Okay, so if I look back at number 1, I have 27y to the third minus 18y squared plus 81y. So I'm going to look at the numbers first, or the coefficient. So I have 27, negative 18, or just think of it as 18 at this point, and 81. What's the largest number I can think of that goes into 27, 18, and 81? Zacchaeus? 9. So that's going to come outside the parentheses. Then I have y to the third, y to the second, and y. What's the most amount of y's that I could pull out of each of those terms? Aaron?
1.
1y. So that's going to come on the outside here. Okay, that's your GCF. That's how you determine what you're dividing by. So now I'm going to take that. That's going to go on the outside of my parentheses. But I'm also, now when you get better at this, you're not going to have to show this division, but for the sake of just learning it, it's probably going to be a good idea to actually come up here and physically write 9y under each of these terms. And then I'm going to do the division. Well, what is 27 divided by 9?
3.
And what's y to the third divided by y? So remember what this means. There's 3 y's up here and 1 down here. They're going to 1 is going to cancel on top with 1 on bottom. So what do I have left?
2.
Okay, so y to the second. What is negative 18 divided by 9?
2.
Okay, so negative 2 or minus 2. What's y to the second divided by y?
1.
Okay, so y to the first power, or just y. Then I go to this term. What's 81 divided by 9?
9.
So plus 9, and y divided by y is?
Nothing.
It's not nothing, it's 1, and 1 times 9 is?
9.
So I don't need to write it. Okay? Now, how could I make sure that I'm correct? What could I do to make sure that this is correct? Chris, what could I do?
Do what we did today and just
Yeah, couldn't I distribute? So if I take 9y times 3y squared, shouldn't I get 27y to the third? And if I don't,
Yeah.
I did something wrong, right? Okay? All right, so you can check your work on these. Okay, look at number 2. I have 16a and I have 24. So 16 and 24, what's my greatest common factor with 16 and 24?
8.
Okay? Now what if, because last hour when I did this earlier, we accidentally used 4. Well, isn't 4 a common factor of 16 and 24? Okay, so what's the problem with doing it that way? What happens is it factors, it'll work, but it doesn't factor all the way. So it's kind of like simplifying a fraction. I would never leave something like 5/10, right? That's not simplified all the way. Same thing here. You factor out by the greatest common factor, which is 8. So 8's coming on the outside of my parentheses, which means I'm dividing by 8. By the way, can I divide out by A?
No.
How come?
There's only
Nick,
one.
tell me.
This A is only on one of the sides.
Right, so there'd have to be an A in both of them to be able to factor one of them out, okay? So what's 16 divided by 8?
2.
2.
And I have an A there, right? And then 24 divided by 8 is?
3.
So I get plus 3. Done. Okay? Look at number 3. Number 3 hopefully looks fairly easy. What's my greatest common factor for 8x and 8y?
8.
8.
An 8. Okay, can I pull out an x or a y? No, it would have to be in both of them to be able to do that. So I'm going to divide out by 8, divide by 8. What do I have left in my first term?
1.
X.
At 1x or just x. Second term,
Y.
plus y. You're done. Okay? Look at number 4. I have 2x to the third plus 2x to the second. So obviously with the 2's, my GCF is?
2.
And then x to the third and x to the second, what's the most amount of x's I could pull out of both terms? 2. So I'm pulling out 2x squared. That goes on the outside of my parentheses. That is what I'm dividing by. So 2 divided by 2 is? Okay, so those cancel. X to the third divided by x to the second is what?
X.
Okay, now, here's the tricky part. What happens right here? I have 2x to the second power divided by 2x to the second power. What happens? Cole?
1.
Okay, I get a 1. Now, go back and remember you guys kept saying to me when I said, well, what's this divided by this? And you say, nothing. But it's not nothing. There is a 1 there, right? We didn't have to put a 1 on some of the other ones because, like, for example, it was 1 times 9. There was something there. But if everything cancels out, you have to know that you do need to represent that 1. Okay? Okay, how about number 5? What can I factor out on number 5? I have an 11, an 11, and a 35. There isn't anything. And how about the A, B, and the K? Nothing. Okay, so in this case, and this could happen, you're just going to circle it or rewrite it, or that's it. There's nothing you can do. But you need to recognize that there was nothing you could do. Okay, look at the next one. I have a 4, a 6, and an 18. What's the largest number that I can think of that goes in 4 and 6 and 18?
2.
Okay, so a 2. And then I have x to the 5th, x to the 3rd, and x to the 2nd. So what am I going to pull out, Aaron? Tell me. What's the most amount of x's I could pull out of each of those terms?
X to the 5th.
Can I pull x to the 5th out of this one? Are there 5 x's in this one? Okay, so what's the most amount that I can pull out of all of them?
1.
Okay, can I pull out 2 here? Could I pull out 2 in all of these?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you want to remember. When you're looking at that, and if they all have x's, find the one with the lowest exponent, and that's the most you can pull out, okay? So this is x to the 2nd. So I'm going to divide out by 2x squared, divide by 2x squared, divide by 2x squared. Well, what's 4 divided by 2?
2.
What's x to the 5th divided by x to the 2nd?
X to the 3rd.
Okay? What's negative 6 divided by 2?
3. Minus
Negative
3.
3.
Or minus 3, okay? What's x to the third divided by x to the second?
X.
Okay? What's 18 divided by 2?
9.
Plus 9.
So plus 9. And then what happens with my x squared over x squared?
Don't put 1.
So it's 1, but 1 times 9 is 9, so we don't need to show the 1. Okay? We're going to do 7 and 8 tomorrow in class, just as a refresher before you start your homework. Everyone understand? Any questions? We're good.